Hey, what's going on there? Dice Rollers, Paul here, and I'll be your DM for a while. Listen, I am celebrating 1 year of the Crit Happens zine, which I started a year ago, and I now have 12 issues. And I thought, it'd be a proper video here to make to say, well, what did I learn during this process? And so I'm going to share with you the 9 things that I think I've learned in creating this zine over the past year. Before I do that, though, if you're brand new here to the channel, I want to welcome you in, say thank you for being here. Thanks for being a part today. If you enjoy D&D, if you enjoy old school stuff, if you enjoy zines, if you enjoy DM tips, and that kind of thing, well, this might be the channel for you. Go ahead and think about clicking that subscribe button, and you'll get videos just like this on a regular basis. So, like I said, 12 months later, I have 12 zines, and I learned some things. So the first thing I learned is that covers matter, right? And this is something I knew, right? But I kind of just do what I'm doing, right? So I'm like, I'm going to put it out there and I want to do something, fun with this. So I did this cover right here, which doesn't even really tell you what's in the zine. I was kind of shooting for a Cracked magazine, if you're familiar with Cracked magazine. Cracked magazine meets OSR. And, I put some funny little cartoonish type things in here where people are saying, funny things, at the bottom there, little bubbles and whatnot. And the fact that I didn't even tell you what was in the zine is just mind-boggling, right? I corrected that, though. I did wind up correcting that. So let me just show you this. So that's a little bit better. At least it tells you that it's an issue about dragons. I thought the first issue of Crit Happens should actually be about dragons, since it is Dungeons and Dragons and those kind of things. So I thought, I just want to, throw some fun, some tables in there, some articles, because I enjoy, writing articles, things like that. If you're interested, I do write over on Substack. You're welcome to check that out. There'll be a link in the description for that. So I did fix it because it's a little more evocative. You tell me, right? I mean, which one are you buying? Are you buying the one with the weird looking head? Or are you buying the one with the dragon that actually tells you what it's about? So I remade the cover, right? It's a little bit better. And the second thing I would say that I learned is that it's okay to not know what you're doing, which is me most of the time. I wanted to do a thing. I didn't do any market research, like what's hot in RPG zines right now, or, where is there an underserved market for zines? Is there a need for this zine? And you know what? Sometimes, it doesn't even matter to me whether there's a need for the zine. There's a need for me to create the zine. And then I'll create it. And then whoever likes that will actually come in and maybe like it. And I'm not saying these questions are bad. In fact, I think, it would have helped me, obviously, to probably ask these questions before I got started. But I just wanted to write. And I wanted to write what I wanted to write, regardless of what the market was doing. And it was a passion project that I wanted to offer to DMs. So shoot first and aim later is kind of my modus operandi, but I'm getting better at putting the horse in front of the cart, if you will. So just because you don't know what you're doing when it comes to creating something doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Unless it's surgery, then you should completely, absolutely know what you're doing, especially if you're operating on me. We don't know what we don't know can be an excuse not to create things, but it can be also an excuse to create things, right? We'll always not know something before we start. And in my case, the stakes were so low to create it, ignorance was indeed bliss. Now, my next 2 issues of Crit Happens was about pirates. There's pirates. And then my 3rd issue, which is a back to school issue, which back to school is coming up real soon here. If you're interested in how to use schools, colleges, academies, those kind of things. I put a bunch of tables and cool stories and that kind of stuff in there about how you can use it during downtime, how your PCs can use it to kind of level up or use their downtime to learn a new skill, things like that. So if you're interested in something like that, all the links, by the way, to all the zines down in the description, you can check those out. And so I put more emphasis on just, general knowledge, basically, for the first 3 issues. Then something interesting happened. The 3rd thing I learned is go where the mojo leads you. And that led to issue number 4, which is now issue number 1, because what I've done is I have basically peeled this off where this is going to be, Crit Happens is going to be in like 3 prongs. This became the Hex Crawl of Horror. And this is its own separate thing, and I'll get to why that is in a minute. But the third thing, I learned is that go where the mojo leads you, right? This is where I basically learned, learned for myself, but then said, I'm going to put like a hex crawl, hex flower type thing in there because I wanted an easy way to, for myself, first and foremost, to look, I don't want to look at a bunch of empty hexes on a map. I want to figure out something. I need something a little more condensed for me. How to create something real quick for, a quick thing. And so, okay, I said, well, I'm going to put something together, use this hex flower thing that I found. And then I said, well, why not make it horror themed? Let's do a hex crawl of horror. And so I kind of went, like I said, where the mojo was leading me. And that issue basically changed everything. This issue here is nothing like obviously my other two, or my first three issues. And it has a different feel, has a different layout. As you can see, it's a little bit, the cover is a lot better. It's got hexes and blood spots on there. It's just a better cover, right? And I wasn't looking to change the format of the zine. It just happened that way. My intention with this zine was to show DMs basically how to take a bunch of daunting empty hexes and turn them into a playable world, for as many sessions as they'd like. And from this zine came my desire to world build. And then basically the next eight zines are all about the world of Kriesh that I created. So each one of these, I did something called The Corrupted, which is all about the undead. I did survivors, survivor groups that are out there during the hex crawl of horror. Made up some guardians, a little pantheon there. How did this world happen? And more lore kind of comes into it. Then I did cults, did a whole thing of cults that are happening there. Then I did Land of the Gods, which is my first map building exercise where I started to map these things out. Then I did the village. My first village that I ever made is the village of Skyreach. I like it. It's pretty cool. And then my latest one, this month's issue, is Dragons of Kriesh, where I put some dragons in there. And this is basically the first bundle, right? This is 1 through 9 now of the hex crawl of horror. And then it's, I've capped the price because, nobody's going to spend they may be in a big, huge bundle. But, for this type of bundle, there's enough in there to say, okay, here's the price point for that. And then I'll make another bundle with a bunch of other new stuff in there. Now, listen, if I had not leaned into my intuition, my guess is I would have put out 12 themed system agnostic zines that would have, been fine, right? It would have been, pirates and dragons and ninjas, whatever I was gonna come up with. Instead, I have a whole world that I'm building, and in each zine, more of that world gets revealed, right? And so I recently renumbered all the horror hex crawl issues. I'll still put out general Crit Happens from time to time, just because I need an avenue for that. And then I'm going to do something called Crit Happens Adventures. And so I'm working on that right now. But the fourth thing I learned is learn to love what you make, even if it's not perfect. No one is more critical of what I make than me. Even though my latest issue, Dragons of Kriesh, has paid art in it for the first time, and it's my take on some new dragons, I will probably always think, oh, that could have been better. But that doesn't mean I don't love what I made. For me, these past 12 months of creating something for a group of people who look forward to it appearing has been really, really cool. The fifth thing I learned is I'm a horrible editor. Okay, so anybody that's subscribed to this channel or has bought this, the zine, I usually send about two or three zines out. That's what I need to pay for. I don't need to pay for art anymore. I need to pay for a professional editor. But typos, grammatical errors, missing words, nonsensical sentences, you name it, I've done it. I'm getting better and always updating my zines when I catch something. So if you ever bought something and you say, Paul, I noticed something here, listen, I'll fix it, send you a PDF. It'll be fine. And I did start doing a live stream for my YouTube members, and I'll go through the latest zine with them, and I'll catch something there, or they'll catch something there, and I'll do it before I ever hit the publish button. So that's kind of a fun way to do it, with my members, because they're invested in it. They're the ones that are getting it. Being a member, you get the zine is only $2. No matter how many pages, it's $2. There's some issues that are like 50 pages. It's still $2, and as part of being a member for $1 a month, you're getting half price basically off the zine because you're getting the zine for free for being a member. So shout out to all the First Watch members, folks. The sixth thing I learned, I love selling my work. I don't mean financially. I mean, like, I love what I sell. I once worked for a retail place during Christmas holiday, and all they cared about was the selling credit cards. It's awful, right? And I hardly ever talked about the credit cards because they were boring. And I'm just not a fan of talking people into debt. So talking about my zine, on the other hand, is not a burden, but it's a joy for me to talk about. So I enjoy selling. I enjoy if I've created something and I'm excited about it. That's what I want to talk about. I want people to take a look at it, right? The seventh thing I learned is work is still work. So they used to say, right, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I've heard that growing up, but it still takes work. It still takes the editing. It still takes picking artwork. It still takes making videos. It still takes all the things to be able to put a zine together. And it's all work that I love, but listen, work is still work. But to me, it's work worth doing. The eighth thing I learned, I'm actually a designer and a publisher. And I'm not afraid to admit that now. I used to think these words were reserved for people who worked in teams or had corner offices, worked at big, RPG companies, but not anymore. Now, listen, I know I'm still a rookie at this, but I will not let imposter syndrome rob me of my reward. The ninth thing that I learned is celebrate your wins, no matter how small. 12 zines doesn't sound like a lot because, well, it's not. It's 12 zines, right? In the big picture of things, it's not a lot, but I celebrate them nonetheless. And I'm currently celebrating the completion of course, my latest one, which is Dragons of Kriesh. Now, this puts a bow on the whole project, basically. It has 235 pages for this bundle, complete village to go romp around in, lore, monsters, maps, printable paper minis, tables, and a whole bunch more. I think there's a lot to celebrate about, and so I will celebrate it. And listen, if there's a 10th thing I've learned, it's that if I can do it, you can do it. I started with an idea. Before that, nothing. So if you have an idea, go ahead and run with it. You never know where it will take you. My newsletter, videos, resources are not just to make money. That would be great and nice and everything, but they also exist to inspire someone just like you to do the same thing. And something else that I learned, listen, nobody is going to choose you. You've got to choose yourself. Life is opt-in. So let me encourage you, go make your thing. But that's it, everybody. Thank you for watching. Those are the things that I've learned through making this zine. I'd love to know, if you're a creator or designer, what's the big takeaways from the things that you create? Leave me some comments down below. And listen, if you're interested in the creation process, the process that I went through, well, I've done all these videos live where I've talked about all these zines and my creating process, those kind of things. If you're interested in that, I'm going to put a playlist right here. You can check that out. And if you're looking for DM advice, that kind of thing, well, I got a playlist right here for that as well. But that's it for today, everyone. Thank you for watching. Thanks for being here today. Be sure to go and click that thumbs up button. It tells me you like the video and you want more of them, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Onward to Crit Happens number 13 coming in August.